All right. We're trying this um, new format. So folks, let's jump right into it. We're gonna have a lots of pleasure today, I hope. But I want to begin with some news. Um, and I'm sure so this happened a couple of weeks ago. I'm sure many of you noticed. So let me know if you did. Maybe with your hand, I can see your hands. So Ruby LLM got on the front page of Hacker News. So any Ruby tooling for LLMs. This was exciting to see. This person, Carmine Paulina, is the author of Ruby LLM, and he's also a founder of a startup, uh, Chat with Work. It's based in Berlin. This is great. Now, something else happened. I don't know, I'm sure many of you know this guy, Andrej Karpathy. He's a very famous professor at Stanford, teaching deep learning, all sorts of machine learning. Also happens to be one of the co-founders of OpenAI. And he posted something about composability of AI generated applications. And Tom Blomfield from Y Combinator, a group partner at Y Combinator, responded. And what he responded with is he basically pitched Rails to Karpathy to the whole community. And to be honest, this was one of my dreams. So I wanted investors and such investors as Y Combinator investors, the best ones out there, right? To pitch Rails, to support Rails, to see the value of Rails, and to do it publicly, on their social media. This is a huge win. Something else I wanted to share. You guys familiar with this company, Bolt.me? So they are now one of the main applications for vibe coding, for code generation. And they built on Rails, Wasm, and Remix. And they announced that, hey, we launched a new product and we went from 0 to 20 million ARR in just 2 months. And this is all thanks to a lot of things, but thanks to the power of Rails. Well, just think about it. Kind of pretty amazing. Albert and Eric are the co-founders. They're based in San Francisco. You can meet one of them at S2B. Now there's something else. This application, Uscreen, it's a streaming and membership platform for creators built for smart TVs, mobile devices, other devices. So they raised the round. Of course, it was not a small round. It was not a 1 million round. Maybe it was a 15 million round, a big round. Folks, they raised $150 million in February this year. Kind of absolutely incredible. I'm sure many of you know Nikita Savrov from social media. He's the co-founder and CTO based in France. And they're building on Ruby on Rails. So the core of their product is a Ruby on Rails monolith, the Turbo. They experimented a lot. They experimented with TurboLinks, built a mobile app. They also use different JavaScript frameworks. They built macro frontends. But Rails is the reason why this company could grow so much and build so much and raise this incredible, really incredible round. Finally, I don't know if you folks read Bloomberg, maybe sometimes, maybe just the headlines. So they recently, in March, posted something about, look, these are the most expected IPOs this year. Which companies are going to IPO? We're going to go public or raise a lot of money, etc. And so the number one line in this list is a Ruby on Rails company. This company is called Chime. Ryan King is co-founder and CTO based in San Francisco. And you must know them from this guy, Noel Rapin, is leading the I Love Ruby team at so you might know him from one of his books. I'm sure many of you know. So this is what's happening. So this is what's happening today. Startups on Rails are growing for real. Ruby open source is getting popular, widely popular. And investors also support Rails publicly, which is also important if you think about this. Because Rails was always this framework for startups, framework for entrepreneurs. Now, I want to put this a little bit into perspective. I didn't invent this. It's a chart called Gartner Hype Cycle. It's describing any great technology, truly great technologies, visibility in time. And when the truly great technology is just getting started, expectations grow so fast. Everybody expects everything at once. And this is what we saw with Rails. Maybe it peaked around 2014, right? Where the expectations just grew incredibly fast. Everybody was building with Rails. Everybody was talking about Rails. The visibility of Rails was incredible. The problem is, it often happens that the technology itself is not that ready yet because it's just the beginning, right? It's just getting started. It's just getting adopted by different sorts of use cases. So what happens is sometimes people run into problems and sometimes people have regrets. And then what happens naturally is that the visibility drops. And this is called the trap of disillusionment. But if the technology has really proven itself, if people want to use it despite the disillusionment, despite the skepticism, despite the loss of hype, right? Then what happens is called like a gradual upward movement called the slope of enlightenment. And then we reach the optimum productivity. So if you think about pragmatic adoption, it should have been very smooth, right? But this is just not how the hype cycles work. So what we are seeing today, where we are today, is on this slope of enlightenment, people beginning to realize that something happened. People beginning to realize that we can benefit from Rails. We can leverage Rails. We can build faster. We can build better. So this is what is happening now. My name is Irina. I want to do a quick round of intros. I run Evil Martians. I'm a co-founder at AnyCable. And I also, yes, as Tijush mentioned, I organize SF Ruby meetup. This is my huge joy and pleasure. And now I want to hear from you, folks. So please prepare. Let's do this. Please take your phones. Take your phones. I really need you to take your phones and scan this QR code. We're gonna try this. Let's test it. Let's test it if it works. Beautiful. I can see so many people. Oh my God. Thank you. This is beautiful. So just open the page and we're gonna go and do the round of intros. So first, just type your name. Type your name. Hey, Svet. This is my colleague, Svet. Oh my God. Hey, Raquel. Hey, Jefferson, Julia, Nicholas, Luisa, Daniel. Oh my God, Paolo. Okay, Paolo is winning. Eduardo. Oh my God, love this. Eduardo, Pedro, Paulo, João. Oh my God. So it's such a huge pleasure to see Marco. Hey, such a huge pleasure to see all of you here. Andre, David, Elaine, Lucas. Wow. Okay, it's a pleasure to meet you. It's a pleasure to connect. It's a pleasure to see all of you, to see all of your names, to see all of you, all of your energy here. We will continue. We will continue now. Please prepare for the next question. Okay, Eduardo is clearly winning. Beautiful. Okay, I'll just go ahead and continue. Uh, so this is powered by Poll Everywhere. Poll Everywhere is a Ruby on Rails startup. It was at Y Combinator in 2008, so it's pretty old startup. The real-time connection is powered by AnyPeople Pro WebSockets, and it was originally built by Brad Gessler, who's in San Francisco. He's also building a bunch of other uh, technologies, products, Cypress, Terminal Wire. Check them out. They're all pretty amazing. But let's go back to it. Tell me, tell me what you're building, what you're working on. It can be a product, a company, open source, a project, anything. What are you working on? One that's like the world, right? Power, donation, buzz monitor, bugs. Yeah, we're all working on bugs. That's inevitable. E-commerce, I could see e-commerce. I don't know how it looks for you guys. It looks pretty crazy for me here. Healthcare, healthcare is big. Software, donations, studio, finance, TopTal. Oh my God. Linkana. All right. Uh, amazing. Okay, let's prepare for the next question. I should get it's so much smaller. I think, okay, this is awesome. I think if somebody can take a photo of this, we should do it. Um, let's let's move on. When did you first learn Ruby? Just tell me the year number. So just the year number. Oh, there was a lots of 2020. So 2010 and 2020 are winning. And 2022, incredibly exciting. So there are many people who are new to the ecosystem, new to Ruby, new to Rails. This is incredible. This is our win. This is fantastic. What we should, this is this is better than I hoped. Uh, folks, crazy. So 2019, 2018, um, and all the other options around. Amazing. So 2022 is winning. So we have many people today that are learning, that are like in the first 2 or 3 years in Rails, in Ruby. This is exciting. What kind of future are we building, right? Let's keep it in mind. Now, let's move on to the next question. And this question is this: why do you love Ruby? Why do you love Rails? Huh? Beauty, paradigm, simplicity. Simplicity is in it. Perfect. Love this. Easy, fast, productivity. Yes, coding productivity. That's why we love Ruby for this. Community. Okay, I love community. There's a lot of kind of money signs as well. language, syntax, beauty, sense of beauty, right? It's such a joy to be able to connect with this sense of beauty while building product applications. Easy, fast ecosystem, money. BHH. So conventions, powerful, probably powerful conventions. All right. We'll continue. We'll have more questions today, so don't get disconnected. But I love how simplicity and community and easy and well money, right? And speed are winning because they are. So it's about beauty and it's about pragmatism. Love this. So let's move on. It's a pleasure to meet you. And these are precisely the questions that I asked um, founders of startups on Rails, specifically founders who chose Rails in recent years, because I'm interested in like why people choose Rails today and what's their experience. Because we want to build the framework that works for them for new startups as well as for big ones. Now, when you think about Ruby and Rails founders and companies, you should think about all these companies, right? They're all running on Ruby, and most of them are running on Rails. But this is not the founders we're talking about today. These are the old ones, the successful ones already, right? Also, last year I did the same research and I talked to all of these founders. So this time I needed new ones. And let me tell you quickly about the people that I spoke with this time. Just quickly. So Brian from New York, building Sixfold AI, an AI workflow platform for insurance companies. He raised Series A, running on Rails. Damian from Warsaw, building Vendo, an e-commerce solution. His team is maintaining Spree Commerce, and they just made a huge release of Spree Commerce. Check it out. I'm sure many of you know what this is, an open source framework for e-commerce. Ian, Detroit, he's building Goodwill, a seed startup helping negotiate hospital bills. Very important mission. Aske from Denmark is building OpenPay, a bill splitting app. Jake from San Francisco, he already founded one successful Y Combinator company, Numero, and now he's building Sperity Health, a preventive health platform. Scott Werner from New York City, building Sublayer, and Sublayer is a DX platform for AI automations, and he's also running Artificial Ruby meetup in New York, a big Ruby meetup in New York. And Eric is from Virginia. He has a company, and they also just open sourced Cupid, which is a search quality testing platform in Ruby. Avinash from Dallas, building a stage startup craft delivery platform using agentic AI for helping with sales, to helping private chefs with sales, helping busy private chefs with sales. Nivedita from Bengaluru and San Francisco, she's building Tramline, a seed stage startup, release coordination and deployments for, well, mobile apps. Bjarke is from London and Copenhagen, building Vava Fertility, an operating system for fertility clinics, any cable pro customer. Ken Grieve from Sydney, building ClipFlow, a product for content creators. And he also has a super popular YouTube channel. He's blogging about Ruby on Rails. Check this out. Victor Campos. I'm sure many of you know this guy. He's from Brazil, building V360, a Series A company, invoice management system, holds process 10 million site click jobs per day. And Victor also famously onboarded over 50 developers who didn't have a prior experience in Rails. Jacob from Arkansas, the United States, building Ordinal, AI assistant for local governments. Glenn Espinoza, building Luther AI. He's from San Francisco. These are AI agents that validate compliance of marketing campaigns. Kelly Sutton from Seattle, ex-Gusto, and he's building scholarly software and e-learning platform for faculty. Just quickly finishing here, Aaron is from North Carolina. He's building 4 pilots and AI-powered ERP for aviation aftermarket. Incredibly cool. Ryan is a musician who happens to be an investor based in Atlanta, and he's also building Terminal, an e-ink dashboard that you can program yourself. Tiago is here, right? Tiago is co-organizing essentially. He's building Hands, thinking about it, a digital bank for automating payments, and folks are transacting $6 million monthly already. Huge success. Carmen, we also mentioned him from Berlin, building Chat with Work. Joao from Brazil, building Cashi, an invoice financing app for people to get paid sooner. Trent from Alabama, building something incredible, building a platform for organizations supporting people with autism. And he's building with Rails and React. And then finally, Mohammed from Morocco is building test skills. His team is building test skills, and this testing platform, alternative to testing Gorilla. So these were all the founders that I wanted you to kind of connect with today. They all chose Ruby and Rails in the recent years. And they're building all those incredible, fantastic, novel, pioneering products. So I asked them, why Ruby on Rails? So let me channel their answers to you, so you can channel them further. When people ask, why new companies choose Ruby on Rails today? And we start with Tiago. And this is actually something that many people say, is that the moment they switch to Rails from other stacks, they feel their productivity is doubling. They can build twice as fast. Rails allows people to focus on business logic, focus on the product, rather than configuring the framework and configuring the whole, everything around the business logic. So we just focus on the business logic. Rails is the grown up in the room. People love it because of, think about how many years of care were put into it, and they continue putting our care into Rails. There is a cultural benefit of hiring Rails developers. Rails developers tend to take on product management tasks and think about the business, think about the product. This is very important for entrepreneurs. Rails monoliths often just give us some sanity. They just give us sanity, in comparison to those crazy microservices setups that you have to be a genius to be productive in. Ryan noted that Hotwire solidified Rails for years to come because it provided the alternative for the front end, the alternative that doesn't have the complexity that we are all tired of. Kelly pointed out that Ruby is overrepresented among the successful startups. Yes, it's not the most popular stack for new startups. Yes, it's not. But if you look at the successful ones, you'll see more and more and more Ruby and Rails. This is absolutely true, 100% true. Scott is betting on Ruby because he believes that the new advancements of AI, of using the AI, of using the AI in novel and creative ways, they're gonna be found in Ruby, not in strictly typed languages, not in other languages, but in the language that allows us to be expressive. And this is the phrase that I love a lot. Eventually, people will realize that all those successful companies, all those successful startups, like Bold.me, like Uscreen, like the one we're seeing today, they've been building on Rails all along. It's just that nobody knew, nobody really paid attention. But just think about this. Rails today is an incredible superpower that entrepreneurs that know about Rails want to tap into, and we should help them. That's the whole point. Now, these are the, I hope you love the quotes, but we also discussed something more pragmatic. What's missing? What could we do to help those new founders even more successful, to help them be even more successful? What's missing? And keep in mind, we are in this context, I believe, in this post-hype era of Rails. And just a few things to point out for the context. So I think what we need to do is we need to do a pragmatic enlightenment. Pragmatic enlightenment. What it means is that we don't have to overhype something. We don't have to overhype anything. We only need to focus on pragmatic story of value creation by Rails. So let's just be super pragmatic and let's enlighten people and enlighten everybody around us that they can get a ton of value from Rails. It's also up to us. I sincerely believe that all those missing pieces in Rails, they have to be built by the community, not by the core teams. The core teams are doing a lot and they are bringing the best ideas into the core. But all the experimentation and you could say even competition between ideas, competition in open source, it has to happen in the community by all of us. It's what we bring. So we bring new experiments, we bring new ideas, we bring new attempts and just design patterns to Rails, while also preserving the developer experience of Rails and the Rails ethos. This is what we strive to do. And if you feel, sorry, this is a screenshot from my last year's talk. If you feel that you need somebody's permission or somebody's blessing to build something for Rails, to build something for Ruby ecosystem, rebel. You don't need anybody's permission. You don't need anybody's blessing. You have the blessing, the permission. This is open source. Let's build. Let's do things together. Let's experiment. Let's build. So I'm going to share four key things that those startup founders talked about as something that is still missing from the ecosystem. So let's get into this. And number 4 is front-end experience. So there's still this desire to have more polished, more documented, more cohesive front-end story. It, of course, includes better Hotwire documentation and best practice. People point out that it takes a few weeks, usually, for somebody to get productive with Hotwire. People are looking for high-quality UI components. And I'm going to mention something today. Chassis and for Rails, that's normally what people say. People are looking for patterns for building more reactive interfaces. Founders point out that we could do better in design aesthetic of the scaffolds. and maybe the UI kits as well. So this is important, kind of focusing on the design, focusing on doing something polished, really, really modern and really polished. And finally, this time, almost everybody knew about inertia as a efficient way of integrating Rails with modern JavaScript frameworks. This is something where Ways Versions looked for a solution for this. We found inertia, and that started contributing to inertia Rails, and he's going to talk about this today. So I want to give a shout out to a few resources. Hotwire.io, Ruby UI that just had a new release yesterday, right? Congrats on that, and inertiarails.dev. Now, we are quite lucky because this topic of frontend is pretty big at Tropical Rails this year. So we're gonna have at least 4 talks about frontend today. Please look forward to that. And tomorrow we have a whole keynote from Chris Oliver about Hotwire. So I think it's just a very cool testament to the idea that yes, frontend is important. So we're gonna learn a lot today and tomorrow about frontend skills, which is great. Now let's contribute. Now the point number 3 is performance and scale. So I will say people are looking for more prescriptive guidance and even some ready-made tooling for something like, look, I know it sounds maybe too ambitious, but this is the question. Can I have a way of achieving under 100 milliseconds response time for any Rails application? And I think this is a question we can ask ourselves, and we are capable of giving more guidance and more tooling, maybe even AI tooling, we'll see, for people to have this. I will also point that parallel processing, like fibers or something like that, is now more important when we have those chats with LLMs that are really IO bound. So this is where you win a lot more from parallel execution of those instead of dedicated threads. Of course, I want to give a shout out to Samuel Williams' work, also Jean Bassia's work on performance, and just and Enable. Enable is also helping you with performance of WebSockets. Now let's go into AI tooling. AI tooling was the second most wanted type of tooling that is missing. I will say this. Half of the people that I spoke with, half of the founders would say, this is too early. We are just using AI as API calls. We're fine. We don't need any tooling. The other half says, folks, it's too late. Why are we building so slowly? Why are we building new tools, new ideas, new paradigms so slowly? That was the feedback. So of course I want to give a shout out to a few very popular kind of basic frameworks for integrating Ruby and AI. But we'll get into more details. I want to share a bit more details with you. First of all, we're seeing a lot more Rails and Python setups. We're basically seeing that almost every startup now has some Python kind of middleware. And the way I think about this is all the product engineering should be on the Rails side, but then there's a lot of data engineering, data prep, and maybe sometimes some data science even. And this is on the Python side. And the question is, how do we design connectivity between the two? Because we don't want to just replace all the data science, all the data scientists, right, that are just familiar with Python. I think we want to have a very clear, concise patterns of integrating those services as maybe sometimes job, sometimes with streaming with websites or we need all those options to be present, to be discussed, and to be figured out for those startups. I'll just share some ideas with you to inspire you to build. So one is LLM Evolves. Evolves is something like quality tests for AI. You could think of them as A/B tests for LLMs. So basically, imagine there was a jam that allows us to test the prompts, to version the prompts. We have an internal dashboard where we see the performance. We upload the data sets. You know, folks, I found something. I found something that just fits. Okay, I think my connection was just broken, and I think I'm back up. Let me see.
Hey, Rina.
Yep.
Yeah, you are seeing you right now. It's okay right now.
Okay.
You're good to go.
Perfect. Right. Yeah. All right. Just finishing here. I know it's a little bit of a boring part. We'll move on. I just wanted to give you those details of what people are looking for, and actually found a gem. I didn't try it yet, but it looks super promising, this lever, and it looks like it's what we need for evals in Ruby. There's a lot about RAG, right? Because RAG is a simple idea when we want to give context to our LLM and from reliable source of data, but it won't fit into the context window, right? So we need to choose only relevant kind of chunks of information provided to the LLM so that it generates much better answer. So we need RAG is very popular. I'm sure many people already use it. Basically, we need Rails native tools for RAG. Some of them are available. I'll show you this. Some of them are available in LangChain RB, but we should also think about of making it really native to Rails and how we can, for example, just as an idea, integrate it into Active Record. So things like that. Let's start thinking about ideas, experimentation here. And of course, I want to point you to Andrew Kane's gems, all of them, and specifically Neighbor, that allows you to basically generate vector embeddings. Now, what else? AI agents is, of course, the next big thing. When we think about agents, we find out there's a missing kind of workflow orchestration tooling. It's almost like background jobs if you think about this, because agents have to be long running. It's almost like background jobs, but they have to be durable, resumable, testable. So there are a little bit more expectations from those workflows. Also, there's the question of agent memory, and these are new ideas. Also, we need a way of tracking their performance, right? Tracking, logging, analyzing. And here, I think two things are very relevant. One is Acidic Job by Steven, and the other is Active Agent, the framework from Justin Bowen. So take a look and kind of consider contributing to those things or experimenting with them and giving feedback or building something yourself that is solving the same problem. So finally, okay, I promise, I think this is the last one from AI. So MCP, of course, is this new word, right, that everybody's using. It's fine if you've never heard of it. It's a very new technology. MCP is a protocol for LLMs to interact with your application. So it's something like a self-documented API, but it's just a specific protocol. And you know what if you look at the first MCPs that were built, they were built for, a lot of them were built for Ruby apps, Stripe, GitHub, GitLab, and Block. So it's like half of the first MCP servers were actually built for Ruby applications. But of course, they were built in Python and TypeScript because there's no Ruby SDK for building MCP servers today. There are a few projects. So we should think of course, the Ruby SDK. We should think about MCP generators, maybe from Swagger. We should think of MCP proxies. And I want to point you to those two projects, FastMCP and MCPRB. They are new projects that are experimenting in this area. Take a look and contribute and give feedback. So now this is all about AI, I promise. I want to finish with this. We still have one last point, which I think is the biggest point. And somebody said this, we are looking for the new reason to be vocal about Ruby. When Rails was at the peak of the hype, everybody was talking about it because it was in fashion. It was just cool. It was everybody's first choice. Today, we need a new reason for being vocal about Rails, knowing that we're going to face some skepticism. We're going to see negativity, right? So we need a new reason to be vocal. And I think this reason is in this context. Remember the slope of enlightenment that we should climb, right? So I think what we got to do is we got to do pragmatic enlightenment. Pragmatic enlightenment. Pragmatic enlightenment is just sharing really pragmatic stories about companies being successful on Rails, about people being successful on Rails. It's not about overhyping everything again. It's about being very honest and very true. So I want companies, I really want to inspire companies to share about building with Ruby on Rails and mention it everywhere, in press releases and socials, everywhere. We need, this may sound funny, but we need more Ruby on Rails bloggers on YouTube. Yeah, we do. We don't have that many popular YouTubers. So if you're thinking of starting a YouTube, maybe this is going to be you. It's going to be our next Rails YouTuber. Now, yes, and we have, I already mentioned CanGrid. Of course, we have Go Rails, Super Rails in YouTube. Check them out, but also maybe try starting something yourself. I also want to, point you to Obi Fernandez's book, and books like that about Ruby and AI, and books like that also help because they help promote Ruby for the new time, the new tasks. Yeah, this is my colleague Vova sent me his version of his book, the photo of his book. He had lots of comments on. Finally, just wrapping up, but basically, when we're thinking about enlightenment, of course, we are, I think we set out to bring lots of conferences and lots of events, in-person events, like Tropical on Rails, like other conferences around the globe. I want to say we're seeing incredible success with this. So just in the last 12 months, we had 8 conferences, 38 Ruby on Rails conferences in 34 different locations around the globe, around the world. But can you guess how many meetups we had? Can you guess how many meetups we had in the last 12 months around the globe? 639. I just want to give a huge kind of round of applause to everybody who hosted a Ruby meetup. And this is 639 meetups in 127 locations around the globe, just in the last 12 months. Just think about it. Yep. So so this data, by the way, is from rubyconferences.org. There's also rubyvideo.dev, where you can see all the videos. Marco is going to talk about this project today. So it's just incredible to see all of this happening, because in bringing people together, we get a much higher chance that those people will build something together. They will either build open source, they will start a startup, they will get hired, they will do things together. And this is so much less toxic than the online communication. So attend the meetups, host the meetups. Let's keep it going. It's super, super, super awesome, and let's keep it going. Now, take back your phones, and bring back that page. You can scan the QR code again if you need. And I want you to give a shout out. I want you to give a shout out to either a gem or a tool or a book or a course. Sorbet, perfect. Ruby UI, Eduardo. Yep. Ruby LSP, Left Hook, Flex. Amazing. This is too fast. CSS Zero, Neobeam, Cry, Crystal Ball, Whisper, Sidekick, of course. Who's winning? Okay, let's see who's winning. Hotwire, Ruby UI, Ruby LSP, and some folks like Eduardo and some folks. All right. This is awesome. Okay, but I think we're seeing a clear winner. Hotwire, CSS Zero, Flex. Awesome. Right. I really loved how nothing failed today. We had this very smooth experience with this. All right, awesome. So, omakase. There's a lot to give shout outs to. So let's be vocal. Let's support the projects and build new ones. And again, when we're thinking about successful Rails companies and Ruby companies, these are the companies that they've already done it, right? They're already proven it. Let's create some new names. Let's create the names that we're going to be proud of in the next 10 years. And I want to inspire you to build and to do stuff, and to engage and to do stuff together. So it can be sort of in any of those 4 areas that I suggest. Maybe you want to do some being vocal about Ruby. Maybe you want to do AI tooling, some front-end tooling, performance and scale. But just start something, contribute to an existing project, or build a new one. Consider doing this. So this concludes my talk. You have all my email and all my details here. Please let's connect. This was what I wanted to share today. Again, I really loved being here. I really love being here, connecting with all of you. Thank you so much for participating in all our interactive comments. And I know you have amazing conference continuing from now on. Sirdesh, all the organizers are doing incredible work here. Again, let's just have fun. Let's have fun for the next 2 days. And then when we're back home, let's start building stuff in the Ruby on Rails ecosystem. Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Guys, muitos aplausos para Irina. Irina, thank you so much for your talk. We are really happy, Irina.
Thank you so much, Irina.
See you soon. Thank you so much, Irina. Bye bye.